The following podcast is a part of Rediscovering America.
Cruise, resort, vacation.
Do you love to cruise? So do I. I'm Z Michaelson from the J&Z Show on ZMAX Radio.
Booking,
Reservation, family, fun, memory.
All of this and more on this edition of Z Michelson's Travel Podcast, as she helps you rediscover America. And welcome once again to Z Michelson's Travel Podcast, as we are rediscovering America. I'm Jay Lawrence, and with me, of course, is your travel guide, Z Michelson.
I am here.
Now, Z, the theme of our podcast, may I say our podcast?
Absolutely.
Is rediscovering America.
Yes.
And why are we doing that?
Well, we just love our country. You know, we love to visit our country. We love to see it. There are so many different things that people don't realize. They can stay here, right here in the United States, and see many wonderful and unbelievable viewing sites, see people, everything. We're such a melting pot.
And so last month, I believe, we spent in the state of Rhode Island.
Right, we were in Rhode Island last month.
So this month, you're taking us to the state of confusion?
No, we're in Utah. We're in Utah.
Oh, wow.
Now, I have friends that live in Utah.
Uh-huh.
I've been in Utah many times. I've passed through Utah. It is quite the state.
It's vast.
And I still want to go back because there's so much more I want to see and do.
So we're going to be talking about Utah today.
Yes.
We also have a traveling trivia question.
Of course.
And I understand that you have a recommendation for a possible cruise.
Right.
So we'll be talking about that a little later.
Okay.
So let's get into Utah.
Utah.
Get your boots on and let's go.
Well, as we discussed in our last podcast, there is quite a bit of parks in Utah.
Yes.
So today I'd like to talk a little bit more about the national parks.
Okay.
The national parks are what everybody sees on the pictures.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Arches National Park is one. You can actually go to the visitor center and see more pictures, but they have the craggy sandstone rises. Mm-hmm. They look like castles and curtains and towers and turrets. And it's a beautiful 40-mile scenic drive. It climbs high into the plateau and crosses the vast landscape.
And I believe that's where John Wayne shot all of his movies, right?
A lot of the stuff that John Wayne shot was in not necessarily Utah. A lot of it was shot in the Badlands of South Dakota and also out west in California.
Okay.
They had those facades set up.
Ah.
Yeah. And the Badlands in South Dakota was also where the bad guys hung out. That's why it was called the Badlands.
Duh.
And if you've never seen it, it's amazing too.
But
we'll talk about that another time.
Please, let's get back to Utah. I'm sorry. You know, I can throw you off track so easily.
Yeah, because I love to talk about all the different states and everything that's in them.
Yes.
Okay, now a lot of people go and photograph stuff. Now, Honey would probably love to go to Utah because she's a big camera buff.
Yes.
She loves to take those pictures.
Yes.
And they say that they swear photographers coined the magic hour at Red Rock. Because what happens is as the sun is rising or setting, it gets a dramatic red glow to it on those things. Yeah, yeah. So,
and of course, there's not a lot of rain out there, so it's probably dry and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Now, of course, Arches National Park is one of the top national parks in the United States. Mm-hmm. Now, it's just a small little area, 73,234 acres. Now, I keep saying sandstone because that's what erodes. You know, it kind of etches out, over years and years of wind and rain and anything like that to make these beautiful, beautiful arches. There's over 2,000, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, hence the name, Arches National Park.
Now, how tall would these be?
Some are very, very tall, so they do range different height sizes. So you want to take a look at some of them. The elevations range from 3,960 feet along the Colorado River to 5,653 feet, which is Elephant Butte, which is the highest point in the park. Yeah, yeah. So, and there's tons of places you can hike it. Like I told you before, you can drive in a certain area and overlook it. But a lot of people like to take the time and they like to hike. And of course, there are many, many places to do things like camping.
And of course, this is really family oriented.
Yes, it's very, the kids love to explore, things like that. It's a good vacation destination for hikers. And I keep pushing the fact hikers.
Yeah.
Because if you're not into hiking, you're going to want to do a different routing on this.
Right. You can drive it.
Right. You can drive to the top and see everything on top. You can overlook it. Kind of like Grand Canyon.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So that's Arches National Park.
Okay. And that's a national park.
Yeah, we're talking all national parks today.
Okay.
Now,
what's another national park in Utah?
We have Canyonlands National Park.
Uh-huh.
Now, this one have sheer drop-offs.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have body-wide footpaths. Now, when I say body-wide, I'm not talking 5 bodies wide. I'm talking body-wide. So it is, it's kind of thin, and it slices right through the red rock. So you can explore the Canyonlands on the edge of the world, as they call it. And the whole park is red rock woodcut. And it's engraved after millions of years of erosion. There's that erosion factor again.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Right. Now, the Green and Colorado rivers trisect the Colorado Plateau. Okay, so you do have the Colorado River in there. Now, there's another little canyon that we've all heard of that the Colorado goes through.
Yes, and that would be...
That would be the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
So, as you can see, the Grand Canyon did a lot of stuff. And so did this Colorado River.
Right. I think it's the Colorado River did it to them.
Now, something that's very, very interesting. The mesas you see at Island in the Sky look like mountain range lopped off by a chisel. Yeah, it's really pretty. And it's, they call needles is a pincushion, pointy side out, because you have a needle. So I'm going to talk about Islands in the Sky a little bit. This area is closest, and I'm going to really screw up this name, Moab, M-O-A-B. Okay,
I think you got it.
I think so, but you never know. I lived in California a lot of times, and I was saying strange words until somebody said, you're pronouncing that wrong. Okay. You can also take a drive to Grandview Point, which overlooks everything. And if you like to dig a little deeper, you can opt out for an easy 2-mile hike.
Oh, good.
So that's kind of something up our alley.
How far is 2 miles?
Right. Or if you like, you can take 100-mile rim road. You can go around the rim.
Oh.
Okay, and then you can descend for a few days and reserve an overnight permit. When I say an overnight permit, that means you can go down and camp.
Yeah.
Now, Needles District, this is all part of Canyonland. So they have a lot of different areas. It's southeast of the Colorado River, and it holds 100 stunning hikes and world-class off-roading. A lot of people like to go off-roading. Now, I am a big chicken when it comes to off-roading.
Oh?
Yeah.
You don't want to sit in the...
Well, I've been in 4x4s and I've been on ATVs and I've been in trucks that do that, and it's like, I just don't like it. If I'm going to explore, I'm going to explore on 2 ways. I'm going to explore on horseback, or I'm going to explore on foot. Something about the vehicle I just don't trust. But there are plenty of day hikes.
Especially when they have to go straight up the hill,
Yeah, I know. And then they go backwards.
Oh,
yeah. So there's plenty of day hikes for you. You have Pothole Point, and you have Cave Springs, and yes, Cave Springs. You have a drive and camp for a few days. You have places like that. And again, you have to get a park permit. So don't forget that. And make sure your 4-wheel drive is very well tuned up. And always, and I'm going to say this all the time, make sure you have plenty of water on you.
Very good.
Okay. There is another location in Canyonlands called The Maze. Now, this one, I'd be a little concerned with myself going in.
Why is that?
Because I'm not an experienced hiker. I like to just go and look and stroll. Now, this is considered the Wild West. So if it might be a little too remote and it's very tough, so you might want to, either get a tour guide to take you through, or just kind of do the overlooks, which is fine.
Did you say you need to take extra water and extra this and extra that?
Yeah, something like this where it's called a maze, you definitely want extra water, extra gas, GPS, all of that. However, your phone probably won't help you.
Yeah.
Because I know in my little area where I live, my phone can't even help me. So could you imagine when you're here in something called a maze?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a GPS, and don't you have GPS on your phone?
It works a little bit differently because you have to be satellite hooked.
Oh, okay.
So if you ever notice some of these wild shows that you're out in Africa or on safari and they have a special phone that they use.
Well, it's called a satellite.
It's a special one. Now in Canyonlands National Park, everything is, unbelievably wild. You feel like you're going back in time, back to the olden days where you might see a pterodactyl flying past.
Ooh.
But they do have life-size petroglyphs and pictographs at the Great Gallery in Horseshoe Canyon.
I know the kids love to see those things.
Well, I do too.
Yeah?
I do too.
Okay, so it's great for the whole family.
So, yes, it's great for the whole family. There's great hiking all throughout the park, ATVing, rafting, mountain biking. I'm not a mountain biker, and I'm not a whitewater rapid rafter.
What about rock climbing and rappelling?
Some of the best rock climbing and rappelling is there.
Oh, right.
So you have quite a bit to do. Now, when you think of all of this...
So that was all in Canyonlands?
That was all in Canyonlands.
National Park.
Right. Now, everybody's heard of Zion National Park. Okay? And thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago.
How long?
Thousands and thousands and thousands. There, Virginia River started wreaking havoc on the sandstone in the southwest Utah. Again, the river, because of this sandstone. And you keep hearing me say sandstone, sandstone, sandstone. People should build houses with that stuff too. You're welcome echoing through the, when you like to sit there and go, hello, 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 hello. This is the perfect place to do that. A lot of things like a movie set, so that you think it's fake, but it's not, because that's how picturesque is. And again, you're going to have to take Honey to Utah. She'll pack all of her photography equipment with her. She will have a blast just taking picture after picture after picture. Now, there's chiseled space canyoneers colonizing the side of this, they call it the red planet. You have etchings that will move in there. You got waterfalls that are in there.
Yes.
You have rocks that weep.
Where would that be? At Emerald Pools?
Right, Emerald Pools and waterlogged slogs through narrow red rock subways.
And it always looks beautiful.
Doesn't that sound lovely?
Yes.
You just, like I said, Honey is just going to love to take her camera with her, or many cameras, because I know she has quite a few. I don't know how she operates all those things.
Yeah, the thing is, she wants one of those longer lenses.
Oh, no.
What is longer?
You're going to have to take a backpack person with you to hold all the stuff.
Need a Sherpa.
Now, right. But we're not down there. We're not in that area. From 3 miles up in Zion National Park, the map looks a little geometric. It has crosshatch of canyons scratched in step of the grand staircase that makes for 100 trails in all kinds of contexts. So you can do some hiking.
Now, what does hiking mean?
Hiking is walking. Lots and lots and lots of walking. Some people don't like to be in these slots because it's a little claustrophobic. Now, I am extremely claustrophobic.
Yes.
And I have gone into caverns where if I'm with a group of people in a cavern, I'm fine as long as I'm in two positions, either one in the very front or I'm also in the back.
Oh, wow.
So keep that in mind. If you are claustrophobic, you need to know your...
I've never been in a cavern.
You've never been in a cavern?
No.
Not how caverns in New York?
No.
Oh, Jay, we're going to have to take you. We're going to have to take you on a wild exploration of our United States of America.
We're going.
Yes.
We're going.
We're going to be going. Okay. They always say Zion is for hikers. So this is basically what you want to do if you're a hiker. And again, here's my water warning. Make sure you have plenty of water. Zion is both the oldest and the oldest national park in Utah.
Okay.
Right. It was the state's first federally designated park back in 1919. Ain't that nice?
Yes.
And it shows off the oldest geological layers. Ain't that nice?
Yes.
From the side of the Grand Canyon. Where did that word come from? Grand Canyon. Ooh. It's also Utah's most visited national park because everybody hears of it. So there's over 3 million visitors annually.
Wow. Now, what does Zion mean?
I don't know.
Page 2. It's a heavenly city.
Yes, it means heavenly city, supposedly.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what it's named after.
Mm-hmm. Because you always hear Zion a lot.
Right.
So that's what it meant. So I know that they use that description and elaborate a little bit more on it.
Well, there's no churches in the park, but there's plenty of inspirational sites.
Absolutely.
Can you go horseback riding?
You can, with a guide.
Mm-hmm.
You can go hiking on your own. You can camp. You can fish. Excellent restaurants and hotels there as well. So there's a lot of stuff. Again, you can always go to the national park sites. You can find out about, forest rangers and park rangers and things like that. Find out if there are guided tours, because these are some of the things that you're going to want to know to go on your hike. If you're a novice, you're not going to want to go into certain areas.
Right. Of course not.
Because you'll get stuck and you won't be able to come out. And, only so much water will hold you because, we are talking in the middle of nowhere.
You will be one of those stories.
Right. This person went there many years ago, never came out.
Never came out.
Yeah, so you're going to want to do that. And again, our national parks throughout the entire country are fabulous. But in Utah, they're breathtaking.
Now, do we have a traveling trivia question?
Absolutely.
What would the traveling trivia question be for today?
Okay, this is based on something we talked about on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, in Utah, they have a famous film festival every year, and it's held in Park City. Okay, what is the name of that film festival? Is it Cannes? Is it Sundance? Or is it Tribeca?
It's a film festival?
It's a film festival.
That would be movies.
Movies.
All right.
Whether you know them or not, they're movies.
Uh-huh. And so this is held in?
It's held in Park City, Utah every year.
And the name is, I get A, B, or C?
You got A, B, or C. You got Cannes.
Uh-huh.
Sundance.
Uh-huh.
Or Tribeca.
Okay. So those are the traveling trivia question. Okay, well, we'll be back in just a few minutes with the traveling trivia question answer and much more about the state of Utah here on Z. Michaelson Travel Podcast. I'm Jay Lawrence.
And this is Z. Michaelson, helping you rediscover America.
Hi, I'm Mary Van Dyke, and I'm rediscovering America. I know big stories can happen in some of the smaller towns right here in the USA, and you can learn more about small towns in America at livability.com. If we missed your hometown and you want to share it with others, just send me a note at the bottom of our website, rediscoveringamerica.com. Until next time, I'm Mary Van Dyke, helping you rediscover America.
Now, Z, I understand you're a travel agent.
Yes, I am.
And you have some great traveling information for us that maybe it would be a...
Well, as you know, I love to cruise.
Yes.
I love to cruise. To me, cruising is the best way to go because you get to your boat, you can unpack, and a boat takes you wherever you want to go, and you don't have to worry about packing and repacking and packing and repacking. So,
that's my boat.
Right, and you don't have to drive. You got,
Right.
The captain is doing it for you.
Right.
Now, it is the month of March right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or just about the month of March.
Right.
And a lot of people are making their plans for the summer.
And now's the time to book, right?
And now is the time to take a look at some of the cruises that are out there.
For the summer.
For the summer.
Okay, now what would you recommend?
Alaska.
Oh.
Let's go to Alaska, Jay.
That sounds like a great idea. And that's part of Rediscovering America.
Yes, it's all part of Rediscovering America. You can actually get on a boat in the United States. You can get on one of the cruise lines outside of Seattle, and you can actually cruise up to Alaska. They do have train and cruise tours. They do have cruise only. They have cruise and land tours. You're going to want to book now because that window of opportunity to go see Alaska on cruise ships is very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking probably late May and then it stops in September.
Oh.
So as opposed to all the other cruises that, hey, you can go on a cruise around the Caribbean any time of year, even though you want to keep an eye on your hurricane window. In Alaska, you only have that short time.
Now, you're not taking your swimsuit with you when you go to Alaska, right?
Actually, you can. A lot of the cruise liners, and this was true when I went overseas to England and I toured around the British Isles, they have a closed-in swimming pool.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, and they have jacuzzis. And so, definitely take your bathing suit because there are opportunities on a lot of the ships. And you can find out when you contact me, I can let you know what the ship looks like and what availabilities are on the ship and what amenities they have.
You talked about train and cruise?
Yes.
What's that deal? How does that work?
Basically, the cruise will take you to a certain point. And then you can get off and they do train trips that will take a couple of days and then bring you back around. And
a train trip in Alaska?
Yes.
Have you seen that TV show, Alaska Train or Train Alaska, the Alaska Railroad?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Now, you see, I'm a crazy person. I watch other shows like Buying Alaska or Going Off the Grid in Alaska.
Yeah, well, it shows people working on the Alaskan Railroad and what it takes, and then it shows people that live off the grid,
right?
Depending on the train,
right? Depending on the train coming through. Now, these are more tourist type trains that'll take you on the back road, and you can see a little bit more if you're not that. I know I would not be able to go off the beaten path in Alaska by myself.
You mean off the grid?
No, I mean off the beaten path.
Oh, wow.
Because there is a lot of traveling that, Alaska is breathtaking. But let's get real. It is wild.
A lot of breath.
Yeah, it is wild. You do have grizzly bears. You have moose. You have a lot of those large type animals that if you are not familiar with how to contain yourself or maintain yourself in these situations, things like tours on trains, on cruises, allow you to suck in the atmosphere without getting hurt.
Wow. Okay, well, Z, how do we get a hold of you to book a tour?
It's very easy.
Especially in Alaska.
I have my own website. It's called zmichaelsontravel.com. And people say, how do you spell your name? Is it just Z? No, it's Z-E-E, michaelsontravel.com. And you can actually look at all the different cruises that are out there on my website. So you can kind of pick and choose and say, okay, I like these 5, and then contact me, and we can go over what would be the best for you.
Good idea. All right, well, let's get back to rediscovering America, and we're talking about the state of confusion today.
We are talking about the state of confusion, and we're also talking about the traveling trivia question.
Oh, that's right.
You always forget it.
Yes.
You always do. You want to know it, and then you don't want the answers.
I hate to tell you, but I know the answer.
I know you were doing your homework. You listened last week.
I know, yes.
Okay, so the question was, what famous film festival is held every year in Park City, Utah?
Okay, now.
And there were 3 that I let you choose from.
A
was Cannes.
Okay. Which doesn't happen to be in the United States at all.
2, a lot of people don't know that. 2 was Sundance. And 3 was Tribeca.
Which happens to be in the state of Florida, right?
Absolutely not.
Oh. Wow.
I threw you on that one.
Did I?
I threw you on
Is that
one.
in Canada?
No, actually, it's in the state of New York. So you canceled out the other 2 because we know Cannes is overseas, and we know Tribeca now is in New York.
So it has to be
Sundance. Which, Park City, we're going to talk about in another show, but we're talking about lots and lots of snow and skiing.
All right. Well,
okay.
Let's get... There you have it. Now, what did I win? Did I win?
You won the pleasure of knowing now that Tribeca is in New York.
That's it. That's it. Let's get back to Utah, where there's some national parks. We got one more big national park to talk about, right?
Right. We're going to talk about Bryce Canyon National Park. Now, knowing Bryce Canyon, when I was looking up the information, like I said, I've been around some of these national parks. I haven't gone through them as much as I would like to. So as I'm talking with you, I'm thinking, okay, Jay, we're going to have to do a trip just doing the national parks in Utah. We're just going to have to take J and Z and our bottles of water and our guides and get into these parks because it says it's Thor's hammer. Okay. Are you familiar with Thor?
No.
He was the Viking guy who wielded the hammer.
Okay, well,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, Bryce's Canyon's red, orange, pink amphitheaters, because it has all that coloring, is a Norse myth 70 million years ago in the making.
Ooh.
See, the Viking guy.
Out there in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And again, the wind, the water, and also the time have eroded Bryce Canyon National Park. The sandstone cliffs, otherworldly characters plucked from the unconscious of the Mad Viking. They call him a Mad Viking. I wouldn't call him a Mad Viking. He was one of the warriors. These pillars, they're almost humanoid. They look real. They look like people standing there. It's just wild. It's also a little eerie. Yeah, a little scary.
And you want to take me to this place?
Well, because it's gorgeous. When you
It's
first
gorgeous.
see the park, it's so dramatic, and also because it is a little windy. I don't know if you've been to a lot of deserts or desert regions. The wind whips through, and the pine trees are there, and you can hear it kind of whistling.
So I got to take my goggles.
Yeah. And and again, I keep talking about color. On all of these different Utah national parks, there's a lot of color. And again, it has to do with the sandstone. It has to do with, all the clay, all of that, making one big, beautiful color spectrum.
Wow. So how long, is there a drive-through there that you can drive through, or?
Let's see.
Is it like 37 miles?
Yeah, it's a little circuit that you can go on. You can go through it. It's a 37-mile circuit, and when you say circuit, it kind of wiggles around and then back. Again, I keep talking about sunset and sunrises. These are great for people who want to take pictures because of the way the sun hits these formations.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in what they call the amphitheater, it's so unbelievable, and you see so many formations that you feel like you're in another world.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have what's called the Fairyland Loop.
Oh.
And again, because things look like it's from another country or another world, you're stepping into this. I see temperatures going down to 18 degrees, and I'm a little chilly. It makes me freeze.
Right. It's a paradox being on the desert.
Yeah, when
There's
you go into
highs,
Bryce,
there's lows.
it can fall into the coolness. Deserts are always hot during the day and cold at night.
There you go.
Now the rim reaches 9,100 feet above sea level.
So
Sea level, so it's going to be chilly. July will only get to about 80 degrees.
Well, but that's a nice temperature.
Right, but in the winter snow sticks around through April.
Right.
Which is not uncommon when you're that high in that elevation. There are ski resorts in that region, so there are lots. And again, I keep referring back to skiing, and I refer back to the deserts. And Utah is just a paradox of all of this.
Are we going to be talking about ski resorts next week?
We're probably going to be talking about it next week.
All
yes.
right. That sounds
because
exciting.
it's still ski season.
Yes.
But and
Now,
if you can bike it, you can hike it, and snowshoes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've never snowshoed. My daughter snowshoed in Colorado.
Really?
Yeah, she said her legs were like limp noodles after
can
she got
imagine.
off it, because that's a little bit of a different step.
Four steps and I'm out of there.
Yeah, and riding a horse. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you don't want to park, you can hop on a shuttle and people watch. So there is shuttles.
Wow.
Right. So you can have. Now, there's balloon festivals too.
Really?
I love balloon festivals.
When did I miss those?
They're in June.
Okay.
So I used to love to do that. When my daughter was very little, out in California, I lived in the desert for a while. There were balloon festivals out there.
Wow.
You go early in the morning and you see them raising the balloons
Oh,
up,
yeah.
and it's
That is
so gorgeous.
That is a beautiful
And
sight.
here in June, Bryce Canyon National Park has a balloon festival.
That's very nice.
So
If
you can
you're
just-
into balloons, get
Right.
ready.
Yeah, into balloons. June, I'm not into the cold, so June's more my month.
But
So
you could book someone to get there to the festival with more
absolutely,
information,
we
right?
can look at the different hotels that they can stay in. We can have them travel there, and because it is the park's 100th, all the parks, the national parks, they're centennial. they're doing lots of national park celebrations.
All right. So I'm kind of lost here. Just a second. Let me think. You have a blog, and you're going to include a lot of this information on your blog.
Yes,
correct?
And I do post pictures on the blog. So if you're kind of wondering what I'm talking about, because I keep rambling on about the beauty and the red cliffs and the sandstone, and you go to my blog and you can see what I'm talking about.
Sometimes it's good to read the blog and listen to the podcast at the same time.
Right, and you can do that. My blog is easy. It's zmichaelson.blogspot.com. And you can just click on it, and then you can also click on, if you've heard the podcast, you can click on it again, because I have the links to the podcast so you can hear it again.
Is everything Z. Michaelson? Everything?
Yeah.
Z. Michaelson this, Z. Michaelson that.
I know. I'm special.
Let's see. The blog, the podcast, your website as being the travel agent sponsoring the show.
Z. Michaelson Travel. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you sponsored the show. So should we just wrap it up until next week?
Until next time.
All right. I'm Jay Lawrence.
And this is Z. Michaelson helping you rediscover America.